It is Tuesday, Parshas Vos, Chanan Zayim Menachem Ov Tuvshin Pai Vov, July 21st, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I am your host with the news on Edge.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish 24, provided to you by The Click.
Today's sponsors are My HomeFinish, the top in the curtains, blinds, and shades industry. Kosher Skinny Shot. Give your life a shot with Kosher Skinny Shot. Business Sink Workshop. We'll talk about them soon. Halo 2 High Functioning Water. Can't go without this one. We'll talk about them soon as well. Now, unlike Keir Starmer, who had some issues supporting the US on Iran, British bases were cleared to support some US strikes on Iran today, officially, and it was approved by the new UK Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, who just entered office. If you listen to the news, you will know that he's now the UK Prime Minister. Iran's communication lines have gone, I would say, dark, so they had to go back to the 90s. Yeah, using old devices. We'll talk about it soon. Plus, a stunning report just went public suggesting the FBI suppressed certain information on a massive global incident, leaving everyone to wonder what other secrets they might be keeping buried. Now, Trump this morning posted on Truth Social defending his Iran military operation strategy, citing very low casualties after the killing of 2 more soldiers, or 3, because one is MIA. Trump said Afghanistan war was 20 years, 2,000 dead. The Iraqi war was 9 years, 4,600 dead. Vietnam war was 19 years and 5 months, 58,220 dead. Korean war, 3 years and 1 month, 36,574 dead. Venezuelan war talks about the time when he extracted the president from the Maduro. 1 day and 0 dead, he writes. The Iran military conflict, 4 months and 18 dead. Business Sink Workshop. If your business is running away from you because you just can't run it properly, is because your head is not there. Procrastination, stress, and all other things. And you find yourself, instead of enjoying your family time, you're not enjoying your family time because you're constantly busy with your business the whole time. It's like turbulence in your business. You don't know what to do. You haven't got koich. You don't know where to go from there. That means you need help. The Business Sync Workshop will change your life when it comes to these kind of things in business. Unlock new levels of success. Sign up today on 718-664-6066. Again, the number is 718-664-6066. info@saggroup.com. You had the details before. You can rewind if you want to. Mention on Edge and get $500 towards this course. It's happening this Chamish of July 29, 2026 in Fort Lee. A heavily armed former U.S. Army soldier attacked the federal immigration building in Lower Manhattan on Monday morning. 43-year-old Andrew Arabica targeted 26 Federal Plaza, the tallest federal building in the country. This building houses an immigration court and several government agencies. At the employee entrance, he poured out a bucket of gasoline, lit it with a big firework, and then pulled out an airsoft rifle, a BB-style gun, like a BB gun, and fired several pellets at the building. A security officer tackled him on the spot. 4 people had light injuries, 2 government workers and an immigrant who was there for his own court hearing, and the officer who tackled him. All were treated and released from hospital. He came pulling a cart with a sign reading, "Ice off our streets," as he was carrying 2 axes, a machete, 3 knives and a hammer, and 6 fireworks. Arabica served in the army years ago as a mechanic on the Patriot missile system. The FBI calls him an anti-government extremist and says he came to hurt people. As of this morning, formal charges have not yet been filed so far. Okay, with Hashem's help, On Edge is bringing to you a powerful, heartbreaking program that will simply tear at your heart. 2 hours of real personal heartbreaking stories about the deep, ongoing struggles of our Jewish brothers and sisters in Israel since the October 7th terrible tragedy. Now, those stories are delivered personally by 2 highly prominent, well-known Askunim who were flown specially from Eretz Yisrael for this. So they joined me here and we had this discussion and we talked about it with the stories that will tear at your heart. Like I said, I urge you to join this program. Stay tuned on onedgenews.com. Again, onedgenews/subscribe to be able to get notified about this. And obviously on Yiddish 24, it's going to be in Yiddish, so you can also call Kol Mevaser, obviously, and press 118 from the main menu. That's where you'll also be able to participate and listen and watch this. Okay, listen to this on Kol Mevaser, whatever. Okay, the same thing. Now, America bombed Iran for a 10th night in a row, and this round cut Iran off from all its most important islands. The strikes started at 4 in the afternoon, our time, and ran into the night. They hit military command centers, missiles and drone launch sites, air defenses, and Iran's naval equipment along the coast. Before Iran responded, they reported explosions in the port city of Bandar Abbas on Keshem Island. Many times you've heard this. It's very important islands where they house all these ports and missile production sites and storage units, and also under mountain where they keep all their missiles, right? And Also, as far as inland as Shiraz, very middle, like in the middle of Tehran. Early this morning, the bombing reached Chabahar in Iran's far southeast, where the Revolutionary Guard keeps a naval base. The strikes also cut the internet cables that connect the mainland to Karg Island, the port where Iran ships almost most of its oil, and to Keshem, the biggest island in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's own communication minister admitted it. His government is now down to old-fashioned radio and satellite links to reach those islands to be able to talk to their people. On America's side, there are new details about the fallen soldiers we told you about yesterday. The army has now named the soldier killed in Iraq, Sergeant Michael Swinton, 30 years old, from North Carolina. He died blowing up a crashed Iranian drone so it could not explode on its own. The army also named the fallen, another fallen, a girl, a 19-year-old private from Texas that was killed Friday. First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan, 25 years old from Hawaii, was killed on Shabbos. His parents say he was engaged and was supposed to get married when he came back home from his deployment. The third soldier from the Jordan attack is still missing. The army found remains on Sunday, but still not said if they are his. The confirmed death toll stands at 17. The Pentagon also put out the injury numbers. 140 soldiers wounded since the war began, nearly 100 of them in just the past 2 weeks. 96% are already back at the posts. President Trump plans to stand at Dover Air Force Base where the bodies come home, the White House says. The transfer is expected around Wednesday, with the exact time still being set. The fighting continues in the air. Iran's Revolutionary Guard is still firing missiles and drones at American bases in the Gulf. That includes missiles fired from the Lar missile field in southern Iran. The group claims it destroyed American HIMARS rocket launchers, radars, and drone hangars in Kuwait, and knocked out American air defenses in Bahrain. But the militaries in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain say the explosions people heard were their own air defenses stopping the incoming attacks. In Iraq, an explosive drone was also intercepted over the Al-Harir airbase, which is in Erbil. The US is also packing more planes into the region for a possible bigger campaign. 7 more refueling airplanes are coming to Israel's Ben Gurion airport, which would bring the American fleet parked there to about 40. Israeli officials estimate that would force the airport to cancel around 30 commercial flights a day starting August 1st. Tens of thousands of tickets right in the middle of vacation season. Israel's transportation minister tried to cap the American planes at 20 and send the rest to the Air Force bases. American commanders were furious, and Israel's own army sided with the Americans, obviously. That's not the only problem. Iran-funded Hezbollah terrorists, obviously, are also threatening to completely shut down Beirut airport. Now let's talk about that soon. Inside Iran's parliament, members are openly pushing for a ground attack on American bases in Kuwait and Bahrain. Former Foreign Minister Manouche Motaki said it plainly very last week. He said, "My proposal is that we launch a ground attack on one of the US bases in the region, capture 100 American, and bring them to Iran. Like this, they can obviously negotiate." He said 100, I think he said 200 about. Israeli intelligence also revealed that Iran secretly moved thousands of uranium enrichment centrifuges into a heavily fortified underground tunnel complex. The equipment was moved last autumn into tunnels dug deep inside the Pickaxe Mountain right next to the Natanz nuclear site to protect Iran's ability to keep enriching uranium even under fire and under bombing. And out in the water, over the weekend, a Greek-managed tanker called the was struck by 2 projectiles in the strait. The engine room caught fire, the crew jumped to safety, and a tugboat picked them up, and the ship is still burning and drifting. Last night, it was a Kuwaiti oil tanker hit near the coast of Oman. Engine room was on fire, and the whole crew in a lifeboat was waiting for rescue. I guess they were rescued in the end. A third ship had its steering knocked out by a projectile of the United Arab Emirates, and a 4th Greek tanker was also hit as well. The Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, is not hiding it. The Guard said today that as long as the IRGC said today, as long as the American aggression keeps this up, the Strait of Hormuz stays closed. Not even for 1 drop of oil will leave that area, they say. In Washington, President Trump has now 2 roads in front of him, and his own officials say the next few days will decide which one he takes. Road 1, a ceasefire. Qatar, Egypt, Oman, and Pakistan are presenting Washington with a 10-day ceasefire offer from Iran. One idea inside it, a protected shipping lane through the middle of the Strait of Hormuz between Omani waters and Iranian waters, where commercial ships should pass safely. road to a much bigger war. The US is already moving dozens of fighter jets and refueling planes into the region for that possibility. But the White House is not done hitting back yet. A US official told the news site Axios, whatever that news site is called, Axios is called, the president is focused on making Iran pay for its violations of the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, or Misunderstanding, like I like to call it, and its continued acts of aggression and terrorism in the Strait of Hormuz. In addition, the president will make Iran pay for the recent deaths of US soldiers. These devastating blows will continue until the president deems otherwise. On Iran's side, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghaei confirmed on Monday that mediators were working to stop the new attacks. He said, the proposals conveyed through the mediators have been received by us, but at this stage I prefer not to discuss their details. But he added that Iran's armed forces would continue to respond with strength and crush the source of the US aggression. You can get beautiful American-made shades, by the way, blinds and curtains, for a lot less than the other guys, without giving up any of the quality. My HomeFinish gives you completely hassle-free service run by Heimish in Gilad and proudly employs 100% Heimish Yidden. Because they are massive and a top-leading brand, they can afford to be cheaper than 90% of their competitors. You get premium quality for affordable prices. They always say the customers come back for the price, stay for the service, and never come back for the quality, because My HomeFinish lasts. Muncie Monroe, upstate, the whole entire New York City area. Ask them about New Jersey as well. Plus, a special offer for my On Edge listeners. If you mention On Edge, you get 5 to 10% discount. Call them today on 845-372-6613. Again, the number is 845-372-6613. You can also visit them online on myhomefinish.com. Okay, America isn't the only one having direct issues with Iran. France says Iranian security officers grabbed 2 of its diplomats in Tehran on Sunday night and held them for hours without giving a reason, interrogated them, and physically abused one of them before letting them go back to their embassy. The 2 diplomats run French programs that support artists and scientists inside of Iran. Both are safe and on the way home back to France. The Francaise foreign minister called it an extremely serious act of intimidation and warned Tehran there will be consequences. France is now weighing whether to pull its staff out of the embassy in Tehran. In Yemen, Houthi terrorists announced a naval blockade on the Bab al-Mandeb Strait to stop any ships connected to Saudi Arabia. The conflict is directly affecting the American economy, and the pictures messed up a little bit. It has pushed oil prices past $90 a barrel and gas to $4 average. The State Department has issued a worldwide caution advisory for all Americans all over the world. The deal we told you about between Israel and Lebanon just had its first real test, and it happened this morning. Israeli soldiers, pulled out of the southern Lebanese village of Zatar al-Garbiyeh, and the Lebanese army rolled in behind them. It is the first piece of land handed from the Israelis to the Lebanese control under the American plan. The deal works like this. Israel puts its soldiers out of test areas like pilot zones, and Washington named 3 of the villages, and the Lebanese army takes over with the job of clearing out Hezbollah's weapons and Hezbollah themselves. Hezbollah has obviously rejected this entire arrangement, and therefore, obviously, they threatened to attack the Beirut airport. The Lebanese soldiers' first task this morning was clearing unexploded bombs from the roads and buildings, and they told residents, do not come home yet. One rough spot already, the Lebanese army says Israeli forces fired shots near its troops inside the zone. There is no deadline for Israel to leave the rest of the South Lebanon, and both America and Israel warned if they will use force if Hezbollah tries to sneak back in again and use force, obviously. And all of this lands on the very, very day that Lebanon's president sits down with President Trump at the White House today, the first Lebanese president invited there in 17 years. Now, to a story that came out yesterday about the Israeli-Syrian border. Just 2 weeks ago, the Israeli military almost bombed and killed 5 Yidden by mistake. Military cameras spotted 5 men near Mount Hermon and took them for a terror squad sneaking towards the border. Attack drones were sent up and were moments from firing. Then the observers looked closer at the screen and saw the men had pious. They were frum Yidden, not terrorists. The strike was called off right away in the last second. The 5 are members of the Chalutze HaBashan, a group trying to build Jewish settlements inside of Syria. Groups of them have been arrested again and again in recent weeks trying to cross the border illegally, and the army called what they are doing a life-threatening criminal offense. Nearby, Syrian custom officials seized a large weapons shipment heading into Lebanon. Authorities found 226 armor-piercing RPG rounds hidden inside a vehicle that some sort of crossing. I don't remember the name. Anyway, I tried to pronounce it. I couldn't. The crossings sit on the main road connecting Damascus and Beirut. Okay? Halo 2 high-functioning water. Let's talk about that for a second. That I do know what to say about. If you drink water, obviously now there's viruses and common Sachen flying around the air. People are getting, foot and mouth disease and all other kind of things. And you need to protect yourself. With a good pH balance, your body can fight off these things much faster and better because your body is just balanced. Well, if your body's balanced, you know how to balance yourself even on the tightrope, right? Halo 2 high-functioning water will get you walking on a tightrope because you're perfectly balanced. pH, okay? 9+ purified water with electrolytes. Now before Tisha B'Av, if it is a fast, indeed, you need to be able to fast well. With good electrolytes in your water, you won't have a problem. Steist? Okay, that's Halo 2 high function. Available in all grocery stores around you, wherever you live in New York, in the US, in the United States. I don't know if it's available in Europe. I have to find out. Okay, I still have to find out. You see, it's still happening. The Shin Bet, the Shabak, and Israeli police arrested Mohammed Awad. He was a 29-year-old Israeli citizen from Nazareth on suspicion of seeking to join Hamas and obtain resources for terrorist activities. Awad planned an attack against National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. The suspect was working as an unarmed security guard at the Afula Central bus station. He was trying to join Hamas. Over in Gaza, the military killed big terrorists in recent days, like they vowed to do, that they're going to kill every single terrorist who participated in the October 7th massacre. The military and the Shin Bet killed Adham Nasman. He was the operations chief of Hamas in Gaza City in a weekend strike. The military says Nasman helped run the October 7th invasion and personally held and tortured hostages. A second strike killed Salah Katarawi. He was an Islamic Jihad terrorist who was planning attacks on Israeli soldiers near the food distribution sites, near the aid distribution sites. Hamas-run media in Gaza also reported strikes on Monday. 2 killed at a small hospital in Jabalia camp, and there in a vehicle near Khan Yunis. Also, the military did not comment on it yet, obviously. The IDF killed Asama Kamal Shahade Abu Tim, what a long name, in southern Gaza. Hamas terrorists took part in kidnapping an elderly couple, Amiram Cooper and his wife, and Alexander Danzig from Kibbutz near Oz on October 7th. Also, he just got married like a week ago. Yep. Shuna the Schöningemann. Killed. He was a terrorist, obviously. The military also killed the terrorist who commanded the kidnapping of 27-year-old Jewish girl from Haifa on October 7th. Taher Abd al-Wahid. He was an Islamic Jihad terrorist who stormed the Nova Music Festival that day. Her body was held and hostage in Gaza for 2 years before it came home. Yesterday we reported that Hamas welcomed its new leader. Well, he was already a leader, but he was a billionaire leader. Today the new leader, Khalil Ahiyah, put out a first message to the Arab world. In a video circulating this week, he says, "Give us money, weapons and airplanes, and we will save you the trouble and eliminate the Zionist entity." And the congratulations are pouring in. Phone calls from Hezbollah, from Egypt's intelligence minister, and from Ismail Qani, from the head of Iran's Quds Force, the branch that runs Iran's terror armies abroad. Everyone's giving him a congratulations. Kosher Skinny Shot gives you congratulations when you walk through with them this entire trip. They take you on a journey to give you a better life, a better chance at life. Because your life deserves a better shot with Kosher Skinny Shot. Do I need to say more? 845-456-8924. Call your doctor, ask your doctor, but they guide you through it. You can take a Zempic and, the other shots, any doctor if you want, but the guidance, you get lost, and it's dangerous, and you don't know the risks and tails and all. They guide you through every step of the way. They tell you everything. We had an interview with Rabbi Kosher Skinny Shot, and the interview was actually about this whole entire thing, of exactly what it does, who it is, how much it costs, all the other things. You can watch the interview on Yiddish 24, on my website, go to onlinenews.com, like I said. You can watch it there. It's in Yiddish. And we also have an English one, which we haven't yet put it up. Ask me why. We'll put it up in Mitzvah Shem very soon. Okay. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, in Eretz Yisrael, 25,000 Ger Chassidim stood outside military prison 10 at Beit Lid last night, with the Ger Rebbe himself leading them. Here is what brought them there. A bucher from Yeshivas Hasemes went to the army office to straighten out his papers and ask for a medical exemption. He showed up 3 separate times. The office in Yerushalayim sent him to Haifa. In Haifa, they told him he came too late, and instead of an exemption, he was declared a deserter and sentenced on the spot to 20 days in military prison. They set off the Gera Olam, obviously, Gera Alam, I would say. 200 buses brought Chassidim from across the country to the prison gates at 9:30 at night. The Rebbe led Marav and Tehillim. The Machnifke Belzer Rebbe also came. The United Torah Judaism chairman, Yitzchak Goldknopf, stood there with the crowd, obviously. At one point, some of the crowd shook and broke through the fence around the base, and there was obviously some scuffles with the military police. The Rebbe and Goldknopf called for calm, and everyone went home without mass arrests. A few hundred Ger Chassidim also gathered outside the Attorney General's office in Tel Aviv. And this was not one bucher story. The same week, the grandson of the Zidditscher Rebbe Shlita was arrested the exact same way. He came in to fix his status and walked out in handcuffs. Under the army's new rules, a bucher who misses his deadline is automatically listed as a deserter and is arrested the moment he shows up at any army office. Rav Lando Shlita himself spoke on Monday night at a gathering of Rabbunim and Yeshiv Bucherim. He said, in his words, were recently completely misunderstood by the obviously Israeli administration and falsely presented as an attack on religious Yidden that are right now in the army. He said, when you meet Yidden with a different way of life, stay far away from Achleikas. Don't argue. Stay brothers, he says. Unbelievable. This is in a time like this, 9 days, Achtis. What a message, what a powerful message that this is. In America, several anti-Semitic events happened early this week. In California, Jewish businessman Yoner Rechnitz and his son were attacked Monday morning near Beverly Hills. Witnesses say 2 men jumped out of a black Hyundai with baseball bats, beat them, and drove off. Witnesses say the 2 men jumped out of a black Hyundai with baseball bats, like I said already, beat them up and drove off. Both father and son were wearing kapelach. Obviously, police are searching for the 2 attackers, and there is no word yet on why they were targeted. Well, we obviously know why. 5,000 miles away in Italy, the government took down online forms that showed anti-Semitism. The forms were asking people to report any Israeli citizen or Jewish local spotted in tourist areas. The country's national coordinator for the fight against anti-Semitism, General whatever his name is, had to step in. After this, the forms were taken down. Down in Australia, Yidden are reporting that they are afraid to reveal they are Jewish when getting medical care. Jewish healthcare workers say they are also being targeted, mocked, and excluded at work. The workers say this happens simply for mentioning the October 7th massacre or the Israeli hostages. One intensive case nurse resigned after more than a decade on the job as a result. In America, the Iran conflict is driving the United States towards an October 1st government shutdown. House Republicans are promoting a budget plan that includes $60 billion to replace military weapons used in operations. President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance are directly pressuring lawmakers to pass the package using a budget process that skips Democrats. However, House Speaker Mike Johnson is struggling to find the votes, and Senate Republicans are openly questioning if the plan will work. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is scheduled to explain the funding needed today. He said, not funding this department at $1.5 trillion is the greatest threat our nation faces. In the meantime, the White House is preparing a backup short-term spending bill just to keep the government open. President Donald J. Trump is putting a new 50% tariff on about $20 billion worth of goods coming in from Canada. The new taxes will start in August and cover items like cement, wine, and hockey sticks. Important materials like energy products, potash, and other critical minerals will not get this extra tax. Obviously, the Trump administration says they are doing this because Canada is treating American businesses unfairly. Officials say Canada is taking American liquor off store shelves and making rules that favor European cheese. To do this, administration dug up Section 338 of the Tariff Act of 1930, a law that sat unused for nearly 100 years. They are using this this specific law because the Supreme Court limited the president's emergency tax powers earlier this month. A CNE official clarified that these are not the wildfire taxes President Trump talked about last week. The administration is still considering a separate penalty against Canada to pay for the costs of wildfire smoke, which we reported yesterday. But there are no bad feelings between President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, like it seems. In fact, they watched the World Cup final together in New Jersey on Sunday. Trump said they have a very good relationship and talked about the fires. Prime Minister Carney wrote on X that the new tariffs violates the trade agreement between the countries and said Canada is ready to negotiate and modernize the deal. As the State Department the State Department, new reports were released about the Cuban government. The report says Cuba has spent years building relationships with American activists groups to oppose U.S. policy. The State Department confirmed this after it filed a 24-hour protest plan. This plan is designed to quickly organize activists to target American military bases and ICE facilities. Secretary of State Marco Rubio posted on X that for more than 6 decades, Cuba has been the leading sponsor of radical leftism and third worldism in the United States of America. He said that the State Department is now exposing the full history of Cuban spying inside the country. The American people deserve to know, he says. A tragedy in Yerushalayim. An 80-year-old man was never killed Monday morning when a second-floor balcony broke off a building in Sharei Chesed Rechavia area and crashed down onto the entrance of a bakery below. 3 more people were hurt. Neighbors had warned just hours earlier that the building was not safe, and security cameras caught the moment the balcony gave way. Before we end with the last 2 stories, let's thank YS Capital Group. Kosher Skin. Did I say Kosher Skin Shot already? I said Kosher Skin Shot already. Yes. Okay. Okay, and the next one is YS Capital Group, like I said, 718-831-2168 for your loans. Specialize in loans like no closing cost loans. Ask them about it. Get your rates locked in by calling them and mentioning on Edge, 718-831-2168. Arrive Express, 845-622-1111, 845-254-1111. Protobyte is 347-354-1237. Again, the number is 347-354-1237. And let's go on with the news. Newly released government documents show that the FBI stopped border agents from searching a virus researcher named Peter Daskas. Daskas has direct ties to Wuhan Institute of Virology. He also is connected to gain of function research, which changes viruses and makes them stronger. So Border Patrol wanted to question Daskas. Now, they wanted to search his electronic devices, check for unauthorized viral samples, and see if U.S. money went to high-risk experiments. But before the border agents could do their inspections, which happened in 2021, the FBI stepped in and stopped the search. They ordered Border Patrol to stand down immediately and let him walk right through at the airport. And that's it for our news today. My friends, have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll see each other minutes from tomorrow. Okay, remember, Tisha B'Av, tomorrow's Erev Tisha B'Av, so yeah.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish 24, provided to you by The Click.